Welcome, this is Coach Dorf. We're in section 2.3 and we're looking at an example that's like homework. And in this example, we're trying to evaluate a limit, trying to find the value of that limit. Now, the first thing I would do on a problem like this is I would try the substitution method. And that would mean I would since the limit is x as x is going to 7, I'm going to substitute in the value x equals 7. And when I substitute that in to the numerator, I get a 0. And when I substitute in the denominator, I get a 0. So I have 0 over 0. So that tells me I need to try something different. So let me write down the problem here. So I have the limit as x goes to 7 of 3 minus the square root of x plus 2 over x minus 7. Now, because I have that square root in the numerator, I have 3 minus the square root. I'm going to multiply the top and bottom by what's called the conjugate. And that is 3 plus the square root of x plus 2. So notice this is different than what's on the original top because I have a 3 plus the square root, and originally I have a 3 minus the square root. The fact that those signs are different, one's a minus and one's a plus, will allow for this problem to be solved. And also notice that whatever I multiply the top by, I have to multiply the bottom by in order to keep equality there. All right, so now when I do that, what do I get? Well, to multiply on the top, I've got to multiply 3 by 3, so that's going to give me 9. And then I'm going to do a 3 times the square root, so I'm going to get plus 3 square root. And then I have to do minus the square root times 3, so I have minus 3 square root. And then the last one is I have the minus square root times the positive square root, so I have this. On the bottom, I'm not going to multiply through, I'm just going to write down what I have. Put them in parentheses so I make sure I don't get things mixed up. All right, now let's simplify what's on the top. So I have a 9. Notice that I have a plus 3 square root and a minus 3 square root. If I've done this correctly, those will always cancel out. And in the last term there is minus the square root squared, which that's going to give me what's underneath the square root. So x plus 2. Now I'm going to keep a parentheses there because I have that minus sign in front of it. And that will help me make sure I don't make an algebra mistake. I'll write down what I have in the denominator still. And again, notice I'm not multiplying through by these terms. Then I have the limit still as x goes to 7. Now I've got that negative in front of the square root, in front of the parentheses on the top. So I have to distribute that negative sign to both things, to everything on the top. And in this case, that gives me 9 minus x minus 2. And then the bottom I have x minus 7, 3 plus square root of x plus 2. All right, and then I can simplify what's on the top. When I've got a 9 minus x minus 2, 9 minus 2 is going to give me 7. So I have a 7 minus x on the top. I have an x minus 7, and I have parentheses 3 plus the square root. Now, notice that the original problem said the limit as x was going to 7. And because I got a 0 over 0 when I did the substitution method, all right, in other words, when I put in x equals 7 in there, then because I got that 0 over 0, it means I should be able to get an x minus 7 in the denominator and an x minus 7 in the numerator. And then those would cancel out, and then I could get my final answer. Well, I have an x minus 7 in the denominator, but I don't have an x minus 7 in the numerator. But I can get that by factoring out a negative 1 in the numerator. So I'm going to factor out that negative 1. And when I do that, it's going to be negative parentheses x minus 7. The top is equal to that. And then I write down what I have in the denominator. And now notice what I have an x minus 7 both top and the bottom. And I can cancel those out. So that when I now rewrite the problem, it's the limit as x goes to 7 of negative 1 over 3 plus square root of x plus 2. Now, because I've canceled out that x minus 7, let's see what happens when I do the substitution method this time. So I'm going to substitute in the value x equals 7 into what I have. And when I do that, I get a negative 1 on top, which is great. I'm not getting a 0. And in the bottom, I have 3 plus the square root of 7 minus 2. All right. And so in the bottom, I've got 3 plus the square root of 9, which is 3. And so I get negative 1 over 6. And that's my answer. All right. Hope that helps.